Hi everybody, it's Jessica from Chambray Blues. We are back again for the next step in the Daisy Days Throw quilt. This pattern is for the Cricut Maker and is designed by Riley Blake. It's a kit you can purchase on the Cricut website. We are making the spinning wheels pattern here, and we have done the entire quilt top. As you can see, it is put together other than the side frame borders. So if you see in the illustration, we are sewing the side border. This is the first border in the frame. It's the narrow pink strip that we're adding to the quilt. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So in my last tutorial, we talked about how to cut the strips. This is a 2.5 inch strip, the width of the fabric. They have been sewed together with a 1/2 inch seam allowance here, and we're now going to apply it to the quilt top. We're going to start at the top corner here and stitch it all the way down to the bottom. I'm using a 2.4 inch setting on my stitch length on my machine. And it's my preference to put the strip on the top and the quilt top on the bottom. It's just a little bit easier to handle that way. I am using a 1/2 inch seam allowance here for this part of the project. You do not need to back tack because you have other rows of stitching that will anchor those threads in place at the top and the bottom. So as I'm going along, I can feel underneath here that my seam allowances are flat and not going to be bulky when I go across them. I generally do not use pins. I don't recommend that you use pins. It's much easier to control the fabric by hand. If you do have two hands, one behind the presser foot and one in front of it, you won't have any problems. I also will sew the next border on here before I press the entire thing. The next border will be the top section there in the same fabric. And when I get to the point where I have it pieced together, I'm just going to open that with seam allowance with my fingers and hold it there while I stitch over it. Okay, so when we get to the bottom, you can just trim the piece when it lines up with the rest of your quilt top and sew right off the edge. And that's what it looks like. Okay, so the next step, like I mentioned, is to sew the top. And in similar fashion, we're going to take our pieces and start at the border and sew all the way across the top, and then the same all the way across the bottom. So that's all for this tutorial. I will have the next border in a separate tutorial on the outside part of that frame. You can find more tutorials on my website, chambrayblues.com. Thank you.